Welcome to Bay Rats and Buoys with your host, Captain Gaige.
What's up, everybody? Captain Gaige here for another episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. Thanks for tuning in. Super excited to be here. I am sitting on my boat down in the marina. It's mid-October, and it's Tuesday afternoon. Super excited. Hope you guys are excited, too, because I got good news. The big bass are here. I got more good news. The Blackfish are here. And it doesn't get any better than this time of the year. So for those of you that are into the blackfishing and super addicted to it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You waited all year for this. You love it. One of the best eating fish. Great fish to catch. Ton of fun to catch. A little bit of work, but such a reward when you reap it. And if you're into it, you know what I'm talking about. And I got to thank my friends because, you know, years ago I was not into blackfishing and didn't understand the addiction and, you know, the cutting of the crabs and doing the work that I put into it. I had done it all on my own prior to that, you know, to fishing with my buddies who are real blackfish sharpies. And, you know, you got to learn. So I'm passing it on. I'm teaching people now. Like yesterday, Teddy's dad was down here. We were showing him how to put the crab on the hook. And I went out Sunday. I shot out on a boat here in the marina. Teddy and his buddy were leaving to head out, and you know, asked me if I want to join. And I shot out there with them, 5-6 foot seas out in the bay. It was howling on Sunday out of the east, and we were able to set anchor, and we got on the fish. It was a ton of fun. So that's this time of the year, like right now. High tide today was 10 o'clock in the morning. Low tide, I believe, is like 4:25. And mid-tide, on that mid-ebb tide, the bite is on fire right now. The bass are blowing up out there on the bait, and there's a ton of bait here. And the water temp right now on my screen, I'm looking at my sonar, it says 61.9 degrees, so it's just shy of 62 degrees. And you know what that means. That means the bass are feeding, and there's no better time to go out there and catch the bass. So you guys that are catching them from the beach or the boat, it doesn't matter where you are. Get those lines in the water. You got the mullet run. You got the bunker. You got the mackerel. We got the squid. I mean, it is an epic time of the year, and I can't say that enough. It's like, I'm super stoked. I mean, this weekend, the charters this weekend, we are going to have a blast. I cannot wait. We got Friday, full day, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, it's just, it's a great time of the year. And yesterday I sat down here, I set up all the equipment. I was going to do a podcast on Columbus Day. I was going to do one on Saturday. I had Captain Derek Schubert from the King's Pointer down here, a good buddy of mine, and he's going to be on the show. But I didn't have any time to set up the equipment. I had none. It got super busy, and you know what they say, guys. Busy is good. We're not complaining, and, you know, there's no emergencies to get people on the microphone. We're going to have all winter in the studio where the times can be set, and it's going to be up every Friday. So right now I appreciate the patience there. I'm trying to get it scheduled so I can get these out in a consistent basis, and I want to do them on the boat until the end of the season. You know, until I put this boat away and shrink wrap it, I want to do as many episodes as I can from sitting right down here in the marina. And like I said, like next week, we got Captain Jacob from out in the Peconic Bay. Wait till you hear this story. And you guys that are into blackfishing, you're going to want to tune into this one because it's going to be an epic episode. Blackfishing like you've never heard, you've never seen, and you've never done. I can assure you that. 100%. It's got me excited to want to, catch my first double digit. I got to get into the double digit blackfish this year. It's like my goal. I have to do it. You know, catching 50-pound bass is, you know, that's a thing. So everybody wants to catch the big ones. Well, this year I'm dialed in. We've gotten 47.6-pound bass, 48 inches. So we're looking to catch the big ones, but this year I got to get in on the double digit blackfish. So that's happening. And I got to do some squid fishing. So that's what I love about, you know, boating and fishing. There's always new stuff to learn, and I love passing on some new information to a lot of people. You know, being a full-time captain and doing this full-time, you learn a lot, and the more you put out on the water, the TOW, the time on the water, I mean, that's how you're going to learn, guys. You're not going to learn by watching videos and, you know, sitting on the couch. The only way to learn is to go get your lines wet, Go get on the boat, experience the wind, the tide, the different conditions. That's what's going to make you a better boater. And I'm not saying to go out there and put yourself in harm's way in any stretch of the imagination. Safety first, and we'll get into all that to help some of these boaters, because this time of the year definitely could be dangerous. Right now, that water temp that I just said, 61.9, that's cold. You don't want to fall in in the water around a marina or in a dock. These water temperatures start to drop, and it gets fatal. And, those are things you have to take into consideration. Safety. So safety first. And, anchoring your boat. Whether you get your anchor stuck this time of the year. For guys that are not using spot lock, a lot of guys, they love to have the spot lock this time of the year to get over the wrecks, get on the reefs, get on the rocks, and fish for these fish without having to drop an anchor. And other guys like Teddy and myself that are putting down anchors, I'm going to recommend maybe you have a poly ball or an anchor ball on your boat in case you do get your anchor stuck. Or, I have 2 anchors on my boat at all times. But you could also go get yourself a rebar, one of the rock anchors. I don't have one. I don't use them. But can I tell you that you could go get a second anchor and have a rock anchor? Yeah, it'd be great. Can you get it stuck? Yes. So there are ways to get an anchor out, and, we'll get into that and maybe help you if you do get your anchor stuck, because a lot of times this time of the year when you go fish rocky areas, you can get your anchor stuck, and there are tricks to getting it out. And, maybe I could pass those tricks on to you by, first getting a poly ball. So get one that's big enough for your anchor. If you have a big anchor, you're going to want to get a bigger poly ball. I think I have like a little 10-inch poly ball. I'm dropping down a 7-pound fluke anchor, fluke style. So I don't have something big and giant and heavy. I do have a lot of road. So I do have, like 10 feet of road on that anchor so that it sits and sets good. So if you have a light anchor with a little bit of road, maybe this time of the year you want to change that up so that you can set. Because I know on Sunday when I went out with Teddy, we didn't set right away. And that's something else you got to keep in mind when you're drifting in rocky areas. You want to know where you are. You want to know where the rocks are, especially when you're fishing in the rocks. Especially the bottom of your boat, your engine, your lower unit. You don't want to do any damage. It's not worth doing damage to your boat to catch these fish. So, like I say, safety first. And as far as knowing where the rocks are, can I help you with that? Yes, I can. So I use Navionics. Garmin just purchased Navionics, but you download the app. I pay $50 for the version that I use. I absolutely love it. I couldn't live without it. Whether it's for commercial towing or for being a charter captain or just boating in general. We get to share routes and share stuff and share boating intel, so you can call me up and say, hey, I'm heading into, Norwalk Islands here. Where do I go? I can share a screen with you and send it over to you and draw a line for you and help you, stay the course. So Navionics is great. And it's on your phone. You get to use it. Guys have it built into their new Garmins because Garmin purchased it. So I'm sure it's built into the electronics on the boats now, which is great. And learning how to use it. So that's going to be a whole nother episode is where maybe I can teach people how to use Navionics and taking it to the next level. I do not get paid or any monetary benefits from recommending them. It's just an app that I know I could not live without. So I'm passing that on to you. This time of the year, I'm going to be busy now these couple of days tying up these snafu rigs and making sure we got the Blackfish jigs on boat. We're loaded up with the green crab. But even more exciting for me is the striped bass. So we're going to get out there on light tackle, topwater action, in the back bays, in the estuaries. The fish are here, guys. They are here. When I tell you they're here, get out there. They're here. No better time than now. Don't wait any longer. You catch your windows with the weather, get out there. And if you want to jump on the boat with us, we'll be happy to get you out there too. We are super busy. We're booked this time of the year. But during the week, you probably have a better shot. You want to go out Wednesday afternoon. You want to go out Friday. Those are days that I probably have more openings to this time of the year during the week. But we love catching the striped bass. And the fall run right now is, it's for us, it's lights out. And the water temp is perfect. So that's why I'm harping on that, guys. Get out there and have some fun. Super excited. You can tell I'm excited. What do you want me to tell you? I'm a kid. When it comes to fishing, I'm like a little kid. And I'm still a little kid. When that rod bends in half, and I'm using the lightest rod possible, even when I'm blackfishing. I'm using the lightest stuff you could possibly use to hook these fish, because to me, that's what makes it fun. With the striped bass, you don't really want to wear them out and tire them down, but the good news is I tag a lot of the bass that we catch, and none of my tags, I haven't gotten any phone calls saying that the tag on this fish recorded on this date was found floating in the sound. So we are concerned with the discard mortality rate and how that affects fishing. I see in a lot of the articles that I'm reading that the percentage of discard mortality rate is spiking, and I'm happy I'm not seeing that on my end, so maybe it's because we're using circle hooks and we're doing everything right. I'm hoping that's the case, because we do care about the fish as much as everybody thinks we go out there and go. I don't kill everything. We do not kill all the fish. People are allowed to take home one striped bass. There's 4 people on the boat. They take home 4 bass. They're allowed to do that. But we're not overfishing and keeping everything. I catch and release everything on all my trips if they are not keeping fish. If the people on the boat that paid to come on the boat do not want to keep fish, we are catching and releasing. Just like Anton and Anton Jr., they've let everything go. They have not kept a fish, and they've been out with us 3 times. So for them, it's a learning and it's catch and release. Recently, on a bottom fishing trip, we just caught a lizard fish. I've never caught a lizard fish. This year I had 2 first. I caught a croaker. I never caught a spot before, and we caught a lizard fish. We did get into a couple of puffers, a couple of blowfish this year, which, again, something on the North Shore here we didn't catch a ton of. I didn't catch a ton of them as a kid. It was snappers and mackerel and eels and porgies, and that's what we caught from the docks as kids, and fluke. And back then we had there was a lot more winter flounder. Excuse me. But super excited to be down here on the boat. It happens to be a gorgeous day. It's the first day that I'm actually wearing sneakers and a pair of pants. I mean, I'm not in flip-flops. Usually from May until October, I'm in flip-flops. This is the first day that I don't have flip-flops on. It's going to be 55. I think the high today is going to be like 60 degrees. Got a sweatshirt on. It's like that cozy time of the year. But let me tell you, speaking about cozy, you want to make sure you have the proper clothing on the boat when you head out, because I tell you, if you're fishing closer to 6 o'clock, remember, sunrise is 7, sunset is 6 o'clock. The sun's going down, so much shorter window there. But you leave in the morning, it could be 44 degrees. 44 degrees, guys. That's chilly. We're full Grundens, hoods up, sweatshirts on, hats, gloves. 44 degrees is chilly. And then you get warmer in the day, right now mid-60, and then the sun goes down at 6 o'clock. When that sun goes down, you better have your jackets with you, because I'm going to tell you, if that wind kicks up, it could be pretty cold out there. So this time of the year, really, safety first, be prepared. And some of the other things I'm going to get into as far as the boating industry is concerned is really know your boat. It dawned on me Sunday when I was on somebody else's boat. And, I train a lot of boaters, so I'm on people's boats all the time. And so I'm familiar with, a lot of different style boats and where things are and, how to turn on switches. And, I'm very familiar with where things are in certain types of boats, whether it be a Sea Ray or a Grady White, or in this case, a Robalo. It doesn't matter. You got to know your boat. And when I say that, the bilge kept coming on and spitting water out. Now, I understand we're in 5-6 foot seas out there. So when that happens and you got a back deck, like I have on my transom here, I have a platform. So the engine's off on a platform. So there's no plate out there for water to get into and get down into the bilge area from the platform and the engine. So the water's not going to come onto the boat that way. However, you do have a through hole. That's where your live well is sucking up the salt water and putting the water in. Some people have, your raw water hose on your boat. Well, those connections and those holes come in with hoses and go to a seacock. And you should know where that seacock is. And if that hose broke, what are you doing? You got towels on the boat. You can cut strips of towels and stick them in. You could use a plastic bag. You could, to me, I'd recommend having a Nerf football on the boat, because you could rip off a piece of that into any shape and stick it into the 2 scuppers. That's where I'm going to get water coming in my, back of the boat here on the transom are the two scuppers. If I clog those scuppers, when the water line gets below those scuppers, no water's coming in through the scuppers. So you wanna know your boat, and things like that. One of the things I was taught early on in boating was, make sure you have a clean bilge area. And that's super important, guys. And so when I saw his bilge was working, it was kicking on, it was doing its job. That was great. We got back, we put a flashlight down there. There was no water down there. Happens to have a sea keeper on, so there were other features on a boat that spit water out a lower hole, and the upper hole was the bilge. And when we looked down there with the flashlight, when we got back to the dock, it was dark, and it was the first thing I wanted to see is, why was the bilge kicking on? Where's the water coming from? So it was basically coming in through the back plate. And, you want to make sure your plates are screwed down and that they're tight and that they're sealed. Because blackfishing this time of the year, October, you get rougher conditions. So it's stuff like that, guys. And, so we talked about navionics, electronics, and getting to know your boat a little bit better. So, I'm down here in the marina all the time on my boat, and so I know my boat inside and out. I could hear a funny noise, and I know right away, It's funny. Somebody was on the boat the other day, and they thought there was something on, and it was the crabs. It was the green crabs, wrestling around and making the noise. And it was a noise that they hadn't heard on the boat, and right away they thought there was something wrong. And so that's funny. That happens. And a VHF radio, I don't know how it's not required for a recreational boater under 65 and a half feet to have a VHF radio. It's a recommendation, but it's not a requirement. And, if you ask me, I think that should be a requirement. And it's as far as advice is concerned, I'm going to pass that on and say, hey, you should have a VHF radio. I have two on my boat, and, each one's monitoring a couple of channels. So, I'm listening to a bunch of channels at once. So when one channel starts to talk, it's going to pick up that frequency. And then I have handheld radios on the boat for, what if my cell phone dies and the battery on the boat dies? That circumstance, I don't want to be out there with no communication. So to me, having those safety features and those safety nets in place is part of being prepared, just like a guy that has a ditch bag prepared on his boat, ready to throw in the water. And, it's just this time of the year, guys. It's cold out there. The water temperature changes. It's exciting to get out there and catch the fish. But at the same time, we have to be, smart about it. And we don't want to see anybody get stuck or hurt out there or any of that stuff. So if you're in the rocks, be careful. Maybe have a poly ball. Maybe have an anchor ball with you that's a suitable anchor ball for the size anchor that you're using, guys. So don't go get a 10-inch one if you're using a 15-pound anchor. You might need a serious size poly ball to pull that anchor and help you get it out. And another trick is, if there was another boater in the area, you call a buddy, or you could hail somebody on 16 and say, hey, I'm over at this can. If you can come over to my boat and help me out here, I got my anchor stuck. You could get a line down that anchor line and pull on it from the other side. You might be able to free the anchor. So there are some tricks to the trade there to help free up anchors in certain situations. But again, these are things that you're not going to learn in a video. It's something you're going to have to be out here and experience and learn how to use your electronics, learn how to use the radio. Don't be afraid to talk on the radio. Another tidbit I'd like to throw out there is radio checks. Oh, my God, I can't tell you, because I have to monitor Channel 16, how many radio checks are done on VHF Channel 16. Guys, 16 is for hailing and distress. And the Coast Guard, I got to say, they are so nice about it at times. They'll hear so many radio checks, and they tell a lot of people that you'll hear them on the radio. They'll say loud and clear, Stanford, loud and clear, wherever, they're hearing it from. And they'll tell you radio checks are on Channel 9. And, it's just freeing up that frequency, guys. We should not be doing radio checks on Channel 16. And if you're going to hail somebody on 16, don't have your conversation on 16. You're going to tell them to switch Channel 68. You're going to go down to a different channel. And whatever channel you want to go to, you hail them, you contact them, and you move to the channel. That's just proper etiquette on a VHF radio. So it's things like that, guys. You don't have to be a rocket scientist, and you don't have to go to school for any of those things. It's just learning how to use your electronics and your equipment and getting to know your boat. So this time of the year. That's my advice to you guys. And for everybody else that's looking to get out there and catch some fish, now is the time. I mean, right now, today, this is it. I'm done with this podcast. I'm heading out. I'm going to go check it out there. I know exactly where the fish are. I'm getting really, really good intel, and I'm excited to get out there and get on them. So we're going to keep that going. We're going to keep that vibe alive. And the green crab, we're stocked up. We got the jigs going down, putting the green crab on. And, funny story was, we cut the legs off. We cut them in half. We hook them through the legs. We put it on. We get that, down there. And we set the hook. We get into them. And one of the guys on my boat, Chef Rob, he wanted to put a whole crab down. And he got it a little further away from the boat than you normally would. And he casted it out. He got it away on a jig. And he coined a phrase because he caught his first, I think it was a 7-pound blackfish, and he was walk it back, Johnny. You got to walk it back. And he was walking the crab back to the boat, and he's walking it back, and this thing just took off, and it hit him like a freight train, and he knew he had a big fish on. That was worthy of getting the net out and netting, so I'll never forget him coining the phrase, walk it back, Johnny. And if we're going to go fishing with Chef Rob, we're definitely going to be walking it back on the video. That is for sure. And I love putting the GoPro down there and checking it out. I actually get to see how the fish react to when the jig comes down and what happens down there. And seeing that has helped me become a better fisherman and being able to hook up more. And not that you need a camera down there. I did it just to see what size and what was going on and what fish are there. And it's really cool because the striped bass are mixed in with the tog. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've pulled up a tog and there's been a 30-pound or a 35-inch striped bass that came up with the fish. And that is just so exciting to see. And you think it's going to eat it, and there's a hook already in the tog, so you're probably not going to get a good hook set on the bass if you ate the tog. You're not set up for that. It's not like you have it live lined. But it was really cool to see, and it's happened on multiple occasions. And having the camera down there and seeing the big porgy and seeing the black sea bass and seeing the tog and the striped bass all mingling together, and the toadfish. We caught a big toadfish this week. It was a big one. I probably should have videotaped it. I don't know if I did. I was happy to let him go and get him off the boat. But that's what's down there in our area right now. So it's kind of cool when I see what they're doing and how they're reacting to the high-low rig, how they're reacting to the jig, how they're going after the snafu rig with the crab on it, and, with the 2 hooks. I'll be making a bunch of those today in some of my downtime. I'm all ready to tie those up. I got all the gear ready. So that's this time of the year. And so if you tune in, check out some of the YouTube videos. I do post this stuff. I put a lot of stuff up in the groups on Facebook, and I'm super grateful for the admins. You guys are awesome. Probably going to invite a couple of guys from some of these groups onto the podcast because there are some great dudes out there. And then you have your keyboard warriors. We'll get into all that in another episode because, you post a picture of a fish and, everybody with the discard mortality rate and you killed it and, it's on the bed of the truck and, it's loaded up with sand on a beach, or you don't know how the fish was caught and released. And a lot of times it's easy to tell it's under. And, everybody's a keyboard warrior on there. So I don't like to post pictures of the fish that we catch. I put it all on my website, and it's for marketing. And I don't need anybody's approval on Facebook of me catching a 47-pound bass that was 48 inches that was on the boat and off the boat before you could sing happy birthday. And we'll even revive it and make sure we're tagging the fish. So for me, that's really the discard mortality rate is everything to me. So we tag these fish. I don't want my tagged fish floating around in the sound and somebody calling up and saying, hey, we found this fish with the tag, and you're going to call me up and tell me that my tag, was the one that it was floating in the sound. I want to find out that my fish was caught in another state, hundreds of thousands of miles away. Who knows? And so that's why even this year I was told by the tagging company to make sure we tag the schoolies and the smaller bass as well. So we're not just tagging the big ones. We're tagging all of them. And super excited. I have so many tags on the boat right now. Can't wait to get out there today and hopefully tag a few more in my area. And all that, to me, all that matters. So, again, guys, if you're going to do it, for me, I like doing things the right way, and I'm forever growing, I'm forever learning, and hopefully I could pass some of that stuff on to you. I am not a know-it-all by any stretch of the imagination. I just love fishing. I love boating. That's my passion, and I turned it into a full-time profession, and that is what I do. And I got some great news. We'll be releasing that news all winter long because there are some really big things happening for a Bay Rats and Buoys and Sand City Fishing Charter, and even Kory's Kustoms. You guys can check out Kory, my first mate. He makes gaffs and all kinds of amazing stuff, and that's Kory's Kustoms. So Kory with a K and Kustoms with a K. You could search that up on Instagram. I'm going to give Kory a shameless plug right now. And that's it, man. It is an exciting time of the year. And we're nowhere near the end yet, guys. We're a month out. So we got plenty of, 70-degree days that'll be out here. I don't know how many more days we're going to have in the shorts. My first day, like I said, wearing pants. I got sneakers on. I'm not in flip-flops anymore. But we're going to get out there and fish our hearts out until the end of the season. And then I'll be sharing some more of the good news and what's going to happen in the wintertime and what we're going to do. So in the meantime, if you have a buddy, if you're in a fishing group, or if you just text a couple of your friends and you're always talking about fishing, well, shoot those guys a link and say, hey, guys, check out this podcast. It's here on Long Island, Bay Rats and Buoys. You can go Google Bay Rats and Buoys. Wherever we come up as far as podcasts, you'll be able to listen to us on any and all of the platforms. We're on all the major platforms. And you can check out sandcitycharter.com. We got thousands of people going there every week. I do update that site, and we're really into this, guys. So we're turning this into a lot of fun on social media as well. We're going to have some good episodes coming up. You got Captain Jacob out of the Peconic Bay. I can't wait for you guys to hear that story. That's going to be epic. And Captain Derek Schubert, he's coming back. He was here Saturday. We couldn't do the podcast. He'll be back on. Can't wait to get him on. You guys are going to love hearing what he's got to say, teaching the cadets on the King's Pointer and the experiences and all the stuff. He's one of the highest-ranking captains I know. And we're going to pass on a lot of fun stuff to you guys all winter long. And so share this podcast feed with anybody that you know, and let's spread it around. It's going to grow organically, and I'm super excited. So I am going to end and close out today's show by wishing everybody bent rods, tight lines, and I'm looking forward to seeing you out there on the water. I see all those Bay Rats out there every day. I'm looking to see some new folks out there for this black fishing season. It's going to be epic out there. And I'm going to sign off of episode number 3. Captain Gaige signing off. Over and out.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. Be sure to visit sandcitycharter.com. and follow Captain Gaige on all our social media channels.